All right, welcome back to another installment of a self-aware AI plays Living End. I'm playing Bant with two Wistfulness, and I'm trying out Kataki in the sideboard. I would really like to play against Affinity in this league so I can finally try Kataki, because I've played against, I've had this card on my deck for like 4 or 5 leagues and have not played against Affinity once, so hopefully we'll see that. And the 15th sideboard card is Beseiju, who's all the way over here. All right, game number one. This hand looks pretty good. We'll keep. This hand really has everything. Opponent plays a white bordered, snow covered island. That is obscene. And I think it's foil too. Gonna surveil. Against a blue deck, I don't think these shock lands are gonna matter too much if I have to take damage from them over the next few turns. Okay, so our opponent appears to be playing Neoform, which is best case scenario, I think, given this hand. Yeah, snow covered, snow covered. So they don't necessarily have to be playing the Ice Fang Coddle sideboard package. I will assume they are. That's actually kind of an interesting dilemma. I believe you should play the ice lands or the snow lands in Neoform no matter what, because it just conceals whether or not you have that sideboard package. Um, let's see. Well, I'm gonna dig around and waste some time before I counter this. I've already got all my colors. Gonna make it look like I'm really digging here. Well, I'm glad I been that. Okay. Psych. But now I don't know because they're gonna lean into the card Abhorrent Oculus. I don't know how many they're gonna lean into potentially, so I don't know if I need to leave Endurances in. Because I've actually thought about that out of Neoform. Neoform is a really good turn one deck. Yeah, they'll get back a Generous, and I think we can. Well, actually, yeah, that's kind of a pain. Generous, now they can Neoform that into an Atraxa. So we do have to still play this game. It's not just over. All right, well, now it's closer to over. Yeah, but to complete that thought, I don't know if they're doing just one Abhorrent Oculus or more, because Neoform is such a good game one deck that I kind of get the Ice Fang sideboard package. What you're trying to do is recreate another game one, where your opponent is misboarded for you slightly. I recently played. Okay. All right. Try to contain myself. The problem is, so if I subtlety, that's two creatures in my graveyard. They're not going to be very good creatures. I think what I do is I take Force of Negation and I subtlety pitching my. Do I even need Shardless Agent at this point? I mean, no. Okay, so there's a lot of thinking for round one, game one. So I could abandon the graveyard plan temporarily. If I do that, I'm going to take Force of Negation and I'm going to keep this subtlety in my hand. And I'm going to pitch Shardless Agent. The other school of thought is just run Shardless Agent out, don't cast Living End, and start hitting them with it. I don't think I like that as much as waiting one more turn to eventually have Subtlety, because Subtlety is so much better than Shardless Agent. This is a really tough situation, and I'm not quite sure what the right move is. I'm going to talk about this with the Neoform guys, too, I think. I'm choosing between two good options. Oh, man, I'm tanking so long on this. I think I want more Force of Negations in the long run because they're eventually going to have Hootie Mandrills available. And I can beat one copy of Pact of Negation. But the problem, well, I didn't think about this right. The problem is, what if they don't? What if the opponent is content? All right, okay, so there's two situations that could happen. They could go straight for a Neoform, or they could just chill with Rider. If they chill with Rider, what I'm going to do is just cast Shardless Agent. They could have Consign to Memory. So then I'm pretty boned. So if their last card's Pact of Negation, I can be... Oh, no, their last card has to be Neoform here, doesn't it? All right. So the problem is if I Subtlety this and then I don't draw a blue card, I can't Shardless Agent. But I can just hardcast. Let's Subtlety this. That's enough thinking. If I don't draw a blue card, I just won't Shardless Agent. And I'll hold up Force. Okay, they don't have Consign to Memory. They would have used it by now. Or maybe they do. They probably have Neoform. If they're dumping their whole hand like that on turn 2, they most likely have Neoform. Because I don't have spot removal. Alright, there's a green card. Nothing matters. And even if they just hang back with Generous and block my subtleties, it's still going to be... Like, I can still just attack into it with the fish. So, hooray. No, I don't think I'm going to. No. And no, what I was saying earlier before I interrupted myself by tanking for like 4 minutes was that I went 9-0 in the showcase with Neoform in game ones. I ended up with a winning record, but I didn't do that well. Okay. So opponent appears that they don't have Neoform. Wait, no, hang on. I'm thinking I got the turn wrong. All right. So what they probably do here is Neoform. And they sack their food token. Understandable. So when you go into this like the goal of the sideboard is to just have such a good game 1 that you can like alter your deck game 2. Your opponent's miss sideboarded, and now you're up a game. All you have to do is steal 1 game post board. That's what I was getting at. Kind of stammered over my words for a while there. All right. That was a pretty one-sided beatdown. This is a really good matchup for Living End, so I'm not going to complain about it. In comes all of our blue interaction. Out comes Living End. And things that don't matter as much. I think on the draw, 1 Int, Riverwinder Waker, even Endurance. I'm actually going to take out 2 Endurances, keep the blue count. That was what I was waffling over, is how important is Endurance now that we know that they could have Abhorrent Oculus in their deck. Okay, the Curse of Inevitable Betrayal continues. This hand has a Subtlety, and it's got a dead blue card to pitch to it. I've got a redraw, a Surveil, and another draw. I'll keep. If this Subtlety was any card besides Subtlety or Force of Negation, I think you send this back every time. And Inevitable Betrayal is just being itself. Go ahead and play the fetch land. Now, because my graveyard doesn't matter, there is some thought about suspending this. Because if I hit my other one at some point, I don't have a way to win the game after that. We shall get Hedge Maze. I like Mistrise. That's pretty good. Opponent planers, that's fine with me. They're doing this now because they know I have Mystical Dispute in my deck. Go ahead and play Mistrise. Gonna resist the urge to use Street Wraith. Nothing really good can happen, and I could always draw Inevitable Betrayal number 2. Okay, opponent's going a little slower this game. And I'm just going to go get a Temple Garden, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Nice. I'm glad I got the Temple Garden. Alright, should I get the party started? Yeah, I think I should. Put a clock on our opponent. I've got double spell next turn, even without that blue card in my hand. Now, a suspended Inevitable Betrayal isn't really the strongest against them. The opponent is also a blue counterspell deck. They've got Consign to Memories to counter our triggers that allow us to cast that. They've also got Pact of Negations. They'll have Mystical Disputes as well. But it's just one more thing they have to do. Opponent has Rider. So first thing we do is cycle. Well, 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 look who it is. Alright, so this game gets very hard to win. Oh, gosh. Well, is there any world where the first Inevitable Betrayal doesn't win, but the second one does? I think I'd rather hard cast Force of Negation potentially in the future, so that I'm not hemorrhaging cards, even though I'm about to start hemorrhaging cards. I'm just going to let that Mystical resolve. Now they have to tap all of their mana to cast Neoform, so the only thing that gets me is a Pact of Negation. And even if they Pact of Negation, they're not guaranteed to live anyway. Yeah, they have the Pact of Negation. We couldn't do anything about that. So this can only get a Grizzlebrand, and they have to hit Consign to Memory in their top 14 cards. I mean, just because they probably will doesn't mean that they will. Okay. See what they discard. Alright, they discard Veil of Summer. Actually, arguable I should have kept the turtle there to bounce Grizzlebrand. That was really bad. That's not even arguable, it's just straight up bad. Well, they're either winning next turn or they're not. Alright, they didn't have it. I mean, bouncing Grizzlebrand, it wasn't really what the game's going to come down to. Do they have it? And the reason I say that is because, look, they have 14 cards in hand. They can rebuild another board. They can get a Galta and put Grizzlebrand into play. That wasn't going to stop them. Okay, they're Nourishing Shoaling. That means they don't have it. You wouldn't Shoal there unless you didn't have it. So now they have to pay for Shoal. Okay, they have Mystical. And I know I tapped my Mistrise a little bit prematurely there, but I need 5 lands to make that uncounterable. So Mistrise was never going to do that. It was just a blue land. And they draw 7 more. And they have Consign. All right. I'm good with that. All right. Let's try to skillfully not draw both inevitable betrayals this game. I also don't think endurance matters. I want maximum blue cards. Actually, I meant to put that Generous Int back in the deck. Yeah, there's a keep. I can't say I'm drawing bad hands. These hands have been pretty good for the matchup. We do need more lands, but I've got draw spell, surveil spell, so. Opponent surveils. They put Shoal into the graveyard. And because life totals aren't real, I'm just going to start with the Street Wraith. Okay, Sky Turtle, not really what I wanted. I do need to get a white land. So let's actually get Hollowed Fountain. And if that's the case, I'm also going to cycle. Need a land here. That could be a land. It's not. Okay. I'm not a sitting duck yet, but we're getting close to that point. Opponent can mana bully us now. Hey, we like to see that. Right almost on time. And they had no play in the end step. I don't think they brought in Oculus package against us. I can see why. I mean, it's like you exile your graveyard, and then I just put it back in the graveyard, and you don't even have anything. Alrighty. Definitely want the land here, although, I mean, subtlety would be nice. I'm going to go with the land, though. Well, didn't need it, because I got the land, but I'm going to protect myself with the spells that I have for a turn cycle, because sticking to fairy is going to be huge. Let us go get a breeding pool. And then channel the Waker Waves. I like Mystical. Opponent has 8 cards in hand. What do they discard? Grizzlebrand. I don't know if I'm on board with discarding your own Grizzlebrand. They probably had a worse card in their hand. We can fight with 1 counterspell here. They can only have 1 Mystical Dispute. Now, if they fight over Teferi, it might have done its job. I might still just want to have Force Mystical next turn. Because even with Teferi in play, they can just Sorcery Speed cast a creature, Sorcery Speed cast a sorcery, Galta put Xenagos into play, kill you. So Teferi doesn't win the game versus them, it just helps a lot. Opponent's thinking if they should Pact of Negation or Teferi. They decide not to. I will draw a card. Wistfulness approaching. Alright, well, I was worried about our opponent mana bullying us, but it is us who is actually mana bullying them. Veil of Summer. Well, I have counterspells in my hand. Guess I could have discarded Turtle there. But I'm thinking Turtle, I can get back a Force of Negation at instant speed. Opponent has Rider. We already used Teferi, so we can't bounce it. Perhaps an aggressive use of Teferi. Nah. Alright, never mind. Teferi was great. I mean, playing Teferi was right, but minusing it could have been bad. If they just held back Rider there and just were content to turn it sideways for a few turns, that could have actually been a problem. If not for this Turtle in our hand. Okay. I think I've had just about enough of our opponent's antics. I will be taking their Atraxa. Because the Grizzlebrand's already in the graveyard, give me that Atraxa. Let's see how many cards we can draw. Oh, come on. I wanted to draw some cards. Good games. Okay, round number 2. This hand's pretty good. A little bit too many Ardent Pleas, but that's okay. We are on the draw. I think my new heuristic in mulliganing is going to be if a hand does okay against Boros Energy in the dark, it's a keep. Because like this is a bad hand against combo, like we played last round. But against most of Modern, this is pretty reasonable. Opponent starts with Tameo, okay. I'm going to start with the Hedge Maze. It might be too late for that subtlety, so I'm just going to put that in the graveyard. Okay, this looks like Jeskai Blink, maybe? At least they're not ramping up their mana. Okay, Force was a nice draw, I think. Opponent chose not to surveil or crack their clue. I kind of like leaving up Sky Turtle in case they try to flip Tameo. But I will surveil. Actually, I think I'll just cycle. I need that third land. I am going to cycle this curator. If this is a solitude deck, you want to have like a huge graveyard for living end. Well, wistfulness detected. Okay, what don't I need? I guess one of these Ardent, please. I don't know what this deck is. I'm thinking maybe it's the blue-red Wizards deck. They keep playing these white fetches. They have to be playing white. Okay, they could flip Tameo. Go ahead and cycle. Give Tameo flying. Huh, okay. Our hand has the freest of interaction. No consign from our opponent. That's nice. Okay, the opponent concerts the Stir Shirts. And Spell Pierces. Maybe next time. So because they're not playing any white lands, I think this might be Splinter Twin. Never mind, there's the white land. What are they doing? Whatever they're doing, I'm going to counter it. Flame of Anor? No, I don't think so. I'll pitch this Subtlety. I still have a flash creature I can play. Well, actually, I can't play either of them. I don't have enough green mana. Alright, now I have enough green mana. So I'm just going to send the Shardless Agent. Mm. Got a bunch of Discord notifications there. What is bro doing over there? They're just drawing some cards. Alright. Okay, the opponent knows better than to attack. I don't see why they don't just want to flip their Tamiyo anyway. It's a really good Planeswalker. So I could do a couple things here. I could Endurance and then just be a beatdown gamer, or I could try to combo again. I guess they're both okay. I guess I could do both, I mean, because I want to have this Endurance in play if Living End doesn't resolve. If Living End does resolve, my graveyard is atrociously huge. We shall bin the opponent's graveyard. Go to our turn and commence the jiggling. Alright, I think I'm just going to play flash spells for the rest of the game. Okay, opponent plays Deep Way Navigator. He's going to untap all of his merfolk. And he goes for Splinter Twin. I'm going to force pitching Ardent Plea. Because I'm going to keep Colossal Sky Turtle in my hand. He has Counterspell. I could have made that uncounterable. But actually, I think instigating a stack fight here works out for me. Splinter Twin pitching that, okay. Bounce your guy. Splinter Twin goes to the graveyard. Does Tamio feel like getting rowdy? Alright, let's see if we can pick up some more interaction. I don't really need Shardle Sage anymore. I'm going to take Curator. That was a good draw. So we know the opponent has that Merfolk in their hand. Opponent Prismatic Endings. I'm glad that was not Flame of Anor. We can go ahead and let that resolve. That's fine. And before they can get that clue token, I will cast Endurance. Opponent could counterspell this, and that's fine with me because they're blowing combo on things that aren't going to win the game, really. Opponent has Snapcaster Mage. So if I let them snap, I don't want to blow my entire hand. Sure, they can counterspell this Endurance and get a Snapcaster Mage. That's fine, I guess. And I'll cycle. Generous Net was almost good. I think we attack. That's fine with me. Second main, I will go get a forest. I think just a basic forest is fine. I have 2 blue. I don't have a lot of blue for this Mistrise Village, but these Snapcaster decks can kind of bolt you out of the game. So I want to keep my life total high. I've seen them play Fire Ice as well. Alright, opponent must feel like I'm out of endurances. I have news for them. The news is that I'm not out of endurances. The messenger is endurance. Yeah, they can just flip their Planeswalker here now. That was always an option. They could have done that last turn. At least we deny them, though, their graveyard. That's pretty good for a turn. Cycle, attack. I think ticking down, well, probably actually going after Tamio might have been a mistake there. I can't let that card ultimate. I missed a land drop there. If if I naturally hit a land, I don't know, they have a lot of cards in hand. This game got away from me. There's the Merfolk that we already knew about. Oh no, it's consult the star charts. I would have kicked that if I were them. Okay, we'll bounce this. Leave open blue mana. Okay, we're dead to a Splinter Twin. Opponent draws. They drew land. They have the Navigator. And they have the Splinter Twin. I'm going to make them play it out, though, because they've wasted so much time. I don't like playing against slow players. Oh, it doesn't have haste. Nice. All right, so I misplayed. I thought this would get haste. Attack. Everybody at Muffin Swag. Yeah, our creatures become 2 power, but that's still enough to kill them, so they have to block. I don't know why they put that Splinter Twin on if they knew that was a chump block play. Didn't play my land, don't care. They consult the star charts. They have Teferi, good for them. And they Prismatic Ending, that sucks. Alright, well, maybe not playing this land was a huge deal now. Alright, we found the instant speed interaction. I'm gonna keep looking for more blue cards. Hopefully they go for another Splinter Twin here. Let's see. Is bouncing Tameo worth it? No, I think I'll give it another turn. Okay, so now bouncing to Fairy might be worth it. We'll see. Opponent kicks the star charts. Man, this game is going to be a nightmare to record. Opponent bolts us, and that's what I was talking about earlier. They do get to a phase in the game where they just start slinging lightning bolts at you. They Snapcaster Mage. Okay, so that puts me to 5, and then they attack me to 3, and then one bolt kills me. I can't do nothing about this, though. Yep, they bolt me down to 5. They plus to Fairy. I think they had lethal there if they just picked up Lightning Bolt with Tamio. But they don't know that. Okay, fine. End step. Bounce to Fairy. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough lands there to cast Subtlety. That would have been sweet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to shock this. And do the Cascade thing. All right, so I am giving them a Deepway Navigator. All right, Magic Online did the little shuffle. All right, can the opponent win? If they have Splinter Twin, I am not scooping. Hey, good for you. And I'm not even going to let them Lightning Bolt me. No response. Oh, I forgot. They had this count. Okay, so that was on me. I forgot that they had this ability where they get a lot of extra power. All right. Let's see. Against the Splinter Twin deck, I want the Teferis and the Mysticals. I think the Commandeer. I don't think I want High Noon. And then out, I think we'll go on the play, Riverwinder, Aven, an Ardent Plea, an Endurance, 2 Endurances. Really just want to keep the blue card count high. I guess I can go down a Waker. All right, that looks fine. Actually, I'll play another copy. I'll bring in another Besage that could kill a Splinter Twin. I'll take out a Generous Ant because this is an extra land. Okay, not the most exciting hand, but I'll keep. Alright, that was a pretty good draw. Get Lush. Just looking for Cascade spells now. Go ahead and cycle the Riverwinder. I usually scoop the Splinter Twin if the opponent's playing fast, but that guy was playing very slow last game, so I was a little bit annoyed. Okay, my Magic Online crashed there, but anyway, without further ado, this is likely going to eat a counterspell. So I think what I'll do is nothing. Yeah, that's the risk you take. They had something to do there. But I'm going to occupy their mana on their turn, hopefully. Okay, tap land, nice. Oops, it's their main phase. Okay, can they win next turn? So they can't win next turn. Do I go to Fairy or do I just go Shardless? I think I'm going to go to Fairy. They can't win next turn because I have Subtlety. They spell Pierce, that's fine. Okay, so Boseiju only gets counted by legendary creatures, so Teferi wouldn't have made it 1. Opponent has their own Teferi. That's not good. A little late for that card. Oh, actually, maybe I should have kept that. I don't know. I kind of just want to get aggro into them now. I kind of gave up my advantage there. That's not good. They can sign the memory. Well, we got played pretty well this game. I think I jumped the gun a little bit early there. Could have just kept the pressure on. Play one of these. And now Force of Negation is just a dead card until we get rid of this Teferi, which will very likely never happen. Another Teferi. Okay, well, at least that killed that Teferi. I think that was good for us. Do have to keep my mana open here so I'll get Breeding Pool. And I'm okay with these cards in my opponent's... Well, I don't want Spell Pierce. Actually, I don't want them to have instants and sorceries because of Snapcaster Mage. Opponent consults. Yeah, so I would rather these cards be in their graveyard, not in their deck, but because they have Snapcaster Mage, I'm going to put them back in their deck. They consult again. Okay, if we get to attack this Teferi, that's pretty good for us. They could have Snapcaster Mage here to block. No, they don't. All right, Teferi goes by. That's a big win. Now we can't double cast Force of Negation, unfortunately, so we're still a little bit of a sitting duck here. They can flash in their Merfolk here and then... Yep, all right, so actually, well, we can't double cast Force of Negation, but if they go for Splinter Twin, we can Bestage the Splinter Twin. That might be nice, actually. That'd be a 3-for-2 for us. So the first thing I'll do is try to cast Splinter Twin. They'll have a counterspell. No, it just gets countered. Okay. They hit us for 2, setting up Snapcaster bolts in the future. This deck can do an impressive amount of reach damage. Well, that's another land. Hopefully my opponent draws more Splinter Twins. That's one of the cards we can beat. No Snapcaster Mage either. Nice. I'm going to counter that Teferi. They consult the star charts. Okay. All right, Teferi's gone. Nice. Do they keep attacking? Yeah, they keep attacking. Huh, another Force of Negation. All right. Good thing we got rid of that Teferi. I think I might have blown this game by being too aggressive on my main phase in the first 3, 4, 5 turns, but then I think our opponent might have also made a mistake playing one Teferi and letting the second Teferi die. Well, the second Teferi killed the first Teferi. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, is it another Splinter Twin? They cast Flame of Anor. I'm going to counter that so they can't draw 2 cards. Do they still feel rowdy? Yes, they do. Fetch land. Woohoo. Go to combat. Opponent casts Subtlety. Okay. That's not good for our clock. They attack with just Subtlety. I will fetch and go to 5. I don't think I want to give him this Navigator back. So I think I'll just do this now. If I attack, they're going to go to 1. And then, well, no, if I attack, they'll block, and then they could hit me with Subtlety, and then I'm dead to Lightning Bolt. So I'm dead to Lightning Bolt now regardless if they counter. Although this could be a dig spell. No, they consign. Okay. All right, we have to hold back. Well, actually, that was bad play. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt either way. Shoot. I didn't think about that hard enough. Well, I'm dead to Lightning Bolt, so. Yeah, good games. All right, round number 3 of this league. Hopefully it goes better than the last one. This is a good hand against a slow deck and a bad hand against something like Boros Energy. I'm going to mulligan. That one's a little better, I guess, in both instances. Let's keep and put back. I think Endurance is actually worse than Force of Negation these days. If it's a deck where turn 1 interaction matters, Force is going to matter more than Endurance, most likely. Let's go get... I think I want to get blue and white. And I'll shock it. Evoke the Wistfulness here. No, I'm not quite sure what to get rid of. I guess I'll get rid of Endurance because I don't have the lands for it. Although these Street Wraiths, I could also make an argument for those because these are starting to get a little bit painful. Okay, it looks like it's either Storm or just Boros Energy off to a slow start. Or it could be like a Phalia Blink deck. But they would probably get blue first. See, Gemstone Cavern. So I think this is Boros Energy. Sorry, not Boros Energy. I think this is Storm. Wish I would have kept those Endurances. Pyretic Ritual. Sorry. So Ral is likely to follow. Now I'm just looking for some bad blue cards. Cool. Next turn, our opponent can just kind of go off. I'm not going to hang on to that. That's the argument for I should have gotten rid of the shoot. Yeah, that was bad play by me. I should have gotten rid of this Waker of Waves so that I had a green card in my hand still. All right. Opponent has pretty much a turn to do whatever they want. And they were starting with a ritual last turn. Yeah, there's Ral. Darn, I misplayed this game. All right, well, we'll see if opponent has us. All right, it didn't matter, but we did misplay that game. What do we want to bring in? For sure, High Noon. Out come 3 Living Ends. I think High Noon, Clarion Conqueror. Okay, so that's the easy part. Is there anything else I want? Teferi doesn't do a whole lot. Commandeer and Foundation Breaker are also considerable. On the draw, I will swap 1 for a Foundation Breaker, and I believe 1 Waker for a Commandeer, just as desperation plays for like Past in Flames. Like Commandeer, I'm just viewing as a 5th copy of Force of Negation, even if it's a bad one. Okay, this is good. This hand has all the interaction I need. And then eventually we can get up to Charlotte's Agent mana. I think I recognize this player. I might have played against them recently. I recognize this Turtle Duck. Although, I mean, that could have been anyone, I guess, with the Turtle Duck. I'm not going to do anything about that. Prismatic Reckless. Okay, Reckless is pretty good next turn. Let's go ahead and get, I would say, Lush Portico. Well, darn. Guess I should have gotten a Shockland. In case I need to emergency dig, Shockland would have been better. But I definitely want to get my white and green mana going. I always think this art is Lava Claw Reaches on this card. I don't know why. Reckless Impulse, that's okay. They hit Ritual Ren's Resolve. And now I think we just kind of win. I wonder if they're even going to stick around. Yeah, they're going to stick around. Watch me cast it. Yeah, and because they don't even have white mana there, they can't orange chant to prevent this High Noon from coming down for a turn. So we're just locked in. Got everything we need. The prismatic ending. I don't think so. And now we're both done casting spells for the turn. Sky Turtle will be a good draw. That was also a good draw. That opened up Endurance. So what's the play here? Is it Endurance or is it Clarion? Or is it just Chill with Waker? I think it's Chill with Waker and cast Endurance if need be. Opponent has Ruby Medallion. That's fine. I don't care about that. Shock myself. Let's just get Endurance going. Just get this game over with. All right, Sky Turtle's what we want. Sky Turtle is Force of Negation right now. They're thinking about orange chanting, I guess, as a fog. Or they just punched their computer and walked away. Now they're going to Manamorphose. That's their spell for the turn. Don't feel any pressure to do anything. Sky Turtle discarding is not a spell. Yeah, you can have 2 of those. That's cool. Let's just rebuy Force of Negation while I've got mana. Alright, Subtlety's a good one too. I think I could click buttons at random and win this game. Alright, that was a good palate cleanser after the Splinter Twin match. Okay, round number 4. Let's see what this hand has going for it. I can't cycle this Riverwinder right away, but I will keep. This is a good hand against Boros Energy, and that's my rule. This is a really bad hand against like Affinity or Storm. Opponent leads on Bloodstained Mire. That could be a lot of different decks. Alright, I will use that land. Nice. It was a really good draw there. Let's see what they get. Is this more Storm? Yeah, it's more Storm. Well, like I said, this hand's not good against Storm. It's just Ruby Medallion. Okay. So we are defenseless here. Did I say defenseless? Because I meant cooking with gas. I think this will be the wistfulness test. If the green enters the battlefield triggered ability is good, then I think this card is in a very good spot in the deck. If you're not using it for the green mana mode very often, especially game 1, it's a little clunky. There's a Ren's Resolve. They hit Past in Flames. We like to see that. They probably can't do that next turn. All right, Endurance would be swell. Endurance would be swell, not an Endurance. I have 2 options here. I can try to hold up Waker to dig for a Force or an Endurance, or I can just start getting in there. I'm going to start getting in there. There's no guarantee Waker will hit anything. There is a guarantee Charlotte's Agent will. If they can't win the game next turn with their 2 cards plus these 2 cards in exile, then I can probably win the game easily. Yeah, this is a 2-turn clock, so they've got next turn and 1 more turn, and they have to use Past in Flames now or they lose it. They hit Wishwooded Foothills, so they need some rituals. Note they're just impulsing again. All right, that was really nice. So they've lost to Past in Flames. And now this Sky Turtle is looking amazing. I'm going to cycle now. Try to hit another land. Okay, that was great. Okay, so opponent got off to a little bit of a stumble. We shoved combo, and it worked. Ruby Medallion. I wish I would leave with Rao, but okay. Can I force that? No. Sure. In a worst case scenario, I could Sky Turtle, Street Wraith to my hand to try to draw 1 card. Reckless Impulse. It's kind of surprised they're not going for Rao. They hit a land. They can use it too. I'm actually going to try to force this right now. Whatever. Okay. Okay, so now I can beat Rao, but if they just go spell crazy here, I can't really do much. They go Ritual, Ritual. That's not good. What's not good for me, I mean. So now I got 1 shot here to deal with the Rao. Right, Subtlety resolves. They could recycle with the Metamorphose to make blue mana, I guess, to consign this trigger. They don't play consign main deck usually, though. And this person doesn't look like they're playing any blue. Glimpse the Impossible, that's not good. So they can play that Ral now. I'm done doing stuff. They're almost to just a natural Grape Shot. Oh, that's not good. They wish and they have 1 mana. And they flip Ral. Okay, well, we tried. I will just go ahead and fast forward to the end of the game. Okay, that didn't go very well. I think maybe I missed out on Beseiju last round, I mean. So I think I sideboard like this. And I still think I will play Commandeer also. Out's going to come, Living End. Let's see, what else isn't very good? I want to stay Cascade maxed. So just random things that aren't the best. On the play, I'm going to leave all my Generous Ents in. This has a likely turn 3 Cascade. I'll keep. I can search. I can see a lot of cards with this hand. I can use Waker. Maybe a little bit of a sketchy keep, but it's got, remember, all these 3 drops are really good really good hate spell, And then the other two are just free pitch cards. All right. I don't think I need white mana this game. I'll still get it though. Want that on top because I might be pitching Shardless Agent as a green card. So I do need white mana. Okay. That was a good draw. I'm going to force that Ruby Medallion. Not going to wake her yet because I'm not going to find anything I want to pitch more than Ardent Plea. All right. All right, I guess we take Subtlety. Nothing subtle about that. Nice. So even though I said I might need to use Shardless Agent as a pitch card, I want the clock. I want to start attacking. Opponent has Prismatic Ending. Darn. See, I'm glad I have the clock now. All right, we'll turn off Ral. No, wait. Don't yield through the turn. All right, that's fine. That was a close one. I almost yielded through a Ral. Ren's Resolve is fine. What they hit? They hit Manamorphose, Glimpse. I'm going to lower my life total, even though that's a little bit risky. Because they could just, like, natural Storm Turn Grape Shot me without a Ral. Hopefully they go for a Ral. They Impulse. What do they hit? They hit Wear Tear Valakut. Okay. Nice. I was hoping they would do that. Now, they don't have the mana to Valakut Awakening into another Ral. Well, maybe they do. They have another Ral. Okay. They've got to be running out of things to do. Desperate Ritual, Ruby Medallion. They can Grape Shot here, actually. I might be done. This might be my first loss to Storm since 2024. Yeah, they have Piff. Okay, they got us. I feel like the Undertaker when you lost the streak. Yeah, opponent 1 through 2 hate pieces, most likely. Yep. All right, good games. All right, as consolation for that horrible loss, we get to go first. And this hand looks kind of okay, but it doesn't have anything free to do besides Endurance, which I can't do anyway, so I'm going to mulligan. Well, that's why you keep sketchy hands, because then you have to go to 5 sometimes. All right, that's pretty good. We can put back basic island hollowed fountain, I think. Finally, just a normal Ragavan deck. This looks like Boros energy. Let's see, what colors do I need? I need white. So I guess I'll get Lush. Well, glad I got to dunk that. Oh, that was dumb. Now I can't use endurance or wistfulness. I'm not used to wistfulness yet. Guess I just don't hurt myself then. And we'll take an extra turn to get set up here. Shoot, that was bad. Still not playing like I have wistfulness in my deck. Come on. What does opponent hit? They hit subtlety, that's fine. Oh, it's not storm, or it's not energy, it's archive, and it's blue, white, red, blink most likely. Okay. I'll go get my other breeding pool, I think. And play it. Damaging myself. In this case, it doesn't matter what order I sacrifice those in. I think I'll just get rid of Windcaller Aven. Sink into Stupor. Games can go long against Blink, and having the bounce spell can turn out being good. Whereas Windcaller Aven, giving something flying isn't going to matter too much. So I'd rather just have the extra creatures, because they're going to try to beat me with Solitudes. Likely. They haven't been playing 2-drops, so they probably have expensive cards in their hand. Ragavan exiles my island. And they have Teferi. So now I have to... What do I have to do? I mean, this is really bad. Yeah, this is rough. Okay, I guess I just run out the endurance. This isn't also Splinter Twin, is it? If I get up to 6 lands, there's Phalia. That's not good. They can just attack and bounce my endurance with their Phalia. I'm not going to have time, most likely, to get up to 6 lands for bounce Teferi, Shardless Agent. Do I still have Hedge Maze in my deck? Yeah, I do. Alright, I'm glad I know that they still have Teferi, because that changes if I'm going to bring in, if I'm going to take out Force of Negation. So I think because they have Teferi, I need to leave it in. Okay. Opponent's giving us the business. Yeah, I've seen enough. I don't think we need to keep playing. Okay. Well, Kataki didn't get used. Unfortunate. Definitely want our own Teferis and Mystical Disputes, and I think that's it. Out, I'm going to go 2 Ardent Plea. I think I want to leave Street Wraiths. I'm going to take out Aven because it doesn't have Hexproof. A Generous Ent. I see you. Wait, no. What did I take? Leave that in. I got a sideboard around my own cards here blocking me. Endurance is not as important. Yeah, I'll take out... I like Waker because it's really big. Wistfulness is kind of slow, and it doesn't do much against them. Alright, Waker and Generous have comboed me. I cannot see anything now. Ugh. Alright, Generous, maybe one day he'll let us rest in peace. This hand, sure, why not? I wish I had a free spell, but it doesn't need one. I'm gonna start with the Surveil. I hope I can see my trigger window, yeah. Alright, we will bin that. Opponent has another turn 1 Ragavan. One of the best things you can do against Living End is play turn 1 Ragavan, because it's going to hit us a bunch of times. Mystical Speed's pretty good. I'm happy to see that. This shuts off a turn 2 Teferi, because something tragic that could happen is they could hit us, take our Teferi, play it, or they could just hit us, make a treasure, play their own Teferi. Sorry about Generous, and I'll see if I can fix that. Okay, he's gone. Hope you all enjoyed your time with Generous Ant. I know he was happy to be here, but now he's gone. He's in a better place. He's in our library. Okay, they hit Breeding Pool. Nice. We didn't get blasted with our own Teferi. Between these two cards, I want Force. Endurance needs to go into my graveyard. I don't have 2 green anyway. Let's see. I'm going to play Otawara. And then what to do. I'm going to pass the turn because if I were to Living End right now, I would only get Endurance Waker, and they could clean that up with the Solitude. Right now, I can end step counter their failure with Mystical Dispute, and then I can force their Teferi. I don't get to cycle either of these Riverwinders, though. But I want to end up with these Riverwinders in play off of a Living End. Nice, they don't have failure. I'll just let Ragavan hit me. There's nothing else I can do. Opponent casts their own Shardless Agent off of my deck. Okay. What do they hit? Failure. That's fine. I'm going to go for a Living End next turn. I just really hope I can get a 3rd land that's not Sink into Stupor, or a 4th land that's not Sink into Stupor. But if it has to be Sink into Stupor, so be it. I'll damage myself. I might draw a Whale. No, but subtlety wasn't bad. All right, next turn's looking pretty good for us. Nice, there's a fourth land. And there's a living in, that's not nice. I want to have blue mana open for this Mystical Dispute. Hopefully this is not a kicked Consign to Memory. That would suck, because then I would be taking a large amount of beating. Opponent has a kicked Consign to Memory. Oh, bother. Yeah, if we're going to be playing against a lot of Jeskai, then the Living-In's not where you want to be. I'd much rather be on Neoform. At least I have a blocker now. No, I don't. Thalia can blink it. Okay, I'm on a 2-turn clock. This is where Bant shines, though, over Sultai, because I really need to draw another Cascade spell. Now, I did take 2 of them out. Maybe that wasn't the right play. I just don't like having tons and tons and tons of 3-drops once I bring Teferi in. Well, I'm going to get my blocker back, but then I'm going to just lose it again. Oh, nuts. They hit Subtlety. They can just cast that. That's tragic. I think if I were them, I might have just... No, because if they have another counterspell, they'd rather keep that, obviously. All right. Another Cascade spell would be swell. Or even a turtle. Golly. Well, gonna hurt. Yeah, I couldn't shock that in because then I'm just dead to the board. Well, this isn't gonna block. And I'm gonna block my own Shroudal Sage if given the chance. No, I think I need to block Philia. If they cast a Flage, I'm done. Fortunately, they didn't. Cast Subtlety, hope it works. Force the Mystical. Well, we tried. All right, that league went pretty awfully. I made a few misplays. I think overall, that just kind of showcased why Living End isn't a top tier deck, because we were in a lot of situations that looked pretty good for us, and the opponent was able to turn the situation around pretty consistently. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.